Okay, so we're going to resume our football club history series, and we're staying in France for a few videos. We're going to start in the city of Laval and look at their club, Stade Lavallois, nicknamed Les Tango because of their bright orange kits. They play at the Stade Francis Levasseur, which has a capacity of just 11,107, so not the biggest stadium in the world. Now, the club itself is one of the oldest clubs in France. They're founded on the 17th of July 1902, so they're a very, very old club, and it's surprising with a club that old that it takes until the 76-77 season for them to finally get promotion to the French top flight, which is now Ligue 1. During this period, between 1968 and 1992, whilst they are a top-flight side, because they ceased to be a top-flight side at the end of the 88-89 season when they're relegated out of the top flight, which is 6 months before I was born, Michel Millenard is their manager between 68 and 92. So he's a very long-serving manager during this entire period. During this period, they win 2 major trophies, and also they knock out Dynamo Kiev from the UEFA Cup in the 83-84 season, which I find interesting. Dynamo Kiev in the 80s were a powerhouse of Soviet football and European football, so to knock out Dynamo Kiev in a European competition, that is some achievement for a small regional club from Laval in France. Very, very notable achievement. Now, another thing that I find very, very interesting, and I've got to look into this a little bit more, I'm not an expert on French football finance, even though I did a video on French football finance last summer, is in 2005 they become an SASP, which is the equivalent to joining a stock exchange. Now, in the 90s in the Premier League, several Premier League clubs decided to float on the FTSE 100, so Manchester United and Newcastle United spring to mind in the late 90s when they actually were listed on the London Stock Exchange. Being an SASP is similar to that, I believe, but I'm not sure how it 100% works. It's a French legal designation when it comes to sporting clubs, so it's something I'm going to research a little bit more, and I'll be very interested to hear from any of my French viewers, because I know I have some, in the comment section below what an SASP actually is. The club itself is currently playing in Ligue 2, Division 2 in France, and they've been there for some time. But for a brief period between 76 and 89, they were actually one of the top sides in France, but they only win the 2 major trophies, the Coupe de la Ligue. They first win it in the 81-82 season, and they win it for the second time in the 83-84 season, again with Michel Millenard as their manager. And that's it. They only win the 2 major trophies. But in the 83-84 season, as I say, they did knock out Dynamo Kiev out of the UEFA Cup, because for a brief period they actually had some appearances in Europe. But for the most part, they've been a lower league side. Apart from that brief spell between the mid-70s and the late 80s, they've not really done much outside of that spell. But they were a decent side in the decade and a half before I was born. Very decent side. But they only get the 2 major trophies to show for it. And a lot of people outside France probably haven't heard of Stade Lavallois. If in all honesty, because again, French football with the way it is at the moment, with the lack of a TV deal and very few recognisable club names, that would be household names to many people because of the lack of success in Europe, in regards to only one team winning a European trophy, which is Olympique Marseille, and a couple of other clubs appearing in European finals. There's that lack of brand recognition globally, but Stade Lavallois, should I say? Very hard to pronounce. There's a lot of L's and O's and A's in there. Decent sides. At the moment, they're a mid-table Division 2 side. So unfortunately, they haven't had the success that I think they could have had. And they only had a brief spell in the top flight. But there we go. There's a brief history of Stade Lavallois. I will get that name right eventually. And we'll be looking at some other slightly more successful French clubs in due course. But for me, for now, thank you very much for watching. I want to hear from French football fans, because I know most of them don't like PSG, and it'll be interesting to see what French viewers have to say. But for me, for now, thank you very much for watching, and I'll have some more content for you all very, very soon.